Alright, so I'm not some professional repairer, but I am a connoisseur of the YouTube, and I'm gonna give this a good old college try. This thing, I don't know if you can see that, is an RTX 3090, and since I got it, it plugs in and looks to function properly, but never comes up as recognized on the mining motherboards that I'm using. Tried risers, tried different power supplies. I'd done all the basic troubleshooting that anyone could do. It's clearly the card. So I'm doing a deep dive online to see what I can find about it. Seemingly there's a group of 3090s that have had like power problems. I don't remember which release it is specifically, but I figured, well, this thing is essentially worthless the way it sits right now. So the worst I could do is damage it further and it will remain garbage. So I'm gonna give it a shot. So I'm gonna do a breakdown and then see if I can figure out what the problem might be. Alright, now before we get started, this is the kit that I use. It's available on Amazon. It's really comprehensive. So I'll be using bits and pieces out of this along the way. Very worth the money, especially if you're a hobbyist. I'm no professional, so take whatever I say and do with a grain of salt. Understand that this is not something I do for a living. So also, if you are a professional and you're watching this and you see me do something that is a big no-no, go ahead and put a comment in the description or in the comment section and let me know what I did wrong. Okay, so I think before I get started, I'm going to put the whoops, I knocked the camera. I'm gonna put the guard back on the connector just for safety's sake. And as you can see, I got a wrist strap on. And this static mat is from StarTech, I think. I don't have a very large workspace in my office, so they were the only ones I could find that had something that was this small, and of course, that's not really a great advantage. But StarTech seems to make pretty good stuff, so it's of decent quality. Kind of had a hard time laying it flat when I first got it, and I don't know if you can see, it still has some wrinkles on the edge here, which is really just a cursory complaint. Alright, let me grab the pry bar and we'll start taking this guy apart. So, let's see here. First things first. Careful not to break anything while I do this. Because ultimately, of course, the goal is not to break anything. And to leave it in better shape than we found it. Now this is a tough one. These little covers are just kind of stuck in here, and I'm gonna have to find a piece of tape or something to pull them up. So forgive me while I take a moment and use a label. Let's see if this works. Nope, not sticky enough. Okay, maybe I can grab it with the tweezers. Nope, that's not happening either. Already hit a snag, and we're not even a couple of bits in. Okay. Well, they are metal parts, so maybe a razor blade. Hey, that's working. Barely. There we go. Okay. That's acceptable. Yes, sir. Also got to make sure I know I put these back in the same place. I'm not sure if they look like they're interchangeable, but one can never be certain of these things with very, very small parts. And of course, using metal on metal is never a great idea if you don't want to damage anything. Okay. Alright, now what kind of fitting we got here? Let's see. It is a small Torx, and it looks like I might actually have it. Oh, that's a little too small. That's better, but not perfect. Is it 1.5? Well, it might actually be 1.2. Let's see. Let's try it again. I don't like that. It might be a size that I don't actually have. Let's see here. Oh, hang on. Huh. Okay. Yep. Maybe. Nope. T4. It's a T4. Okay. I'm going to change this out real quick. So this is pretty neat. They've got all the sizes listed, and it's just a magnetic interchange. Is that the right one? Let's see here. I probably could go a little larger. I'm going to try a different size just to prevent from stripping things. That was a T4. Maybe it is actually a T5, and I just couldn't. Yeah, that seems more right. Okay, cool. And I love this. This is like my favorite part of the whole deal, is this magnetic mat. Because it makes, now obviously with aluminum parts, that's not going to help much. So you still got to be careful. But this little guy is real handy for taking apart any computer parts. Because it's a great way to keep those screws from running away. And especially with something like a graphics card like this that has specialized screws, it would behoove you, as my drill instructor would say, it would behoove you to have one of these. Okay, so let's see here. I am not sure what I've got to grab, but okay, so those are Phillips. I'm going to set this aside right there. And I'm guessing, yay. I'm not even sure I actually have to remove these. No, there's a lot of play in there. I might try a different size. Larger? Maybe? Nope. Maybe it is a 1. Ah, yep. There we go. Easy peasy. Alright, so for all you miners out there, it's kind of slim pickings these days. I've been trying to improve the efficiency of my setup, and obviously 3090 is not the choice card of the day anymore, but there's all kinds of available options now, and I think the major hurdle I'm running into, I don't know what to do next here. Might want to take that off just in case. So I don't know if you know anything about these connectors. Leave a comment. I don't want to have to do all the research all the time, because obviously I'm not using those. But it's very interesting to me. I mean, as a tech geek of sorts, I'm always curious about the ways that the engineers have decided to set things up, and what each and every little plug here and there is for, because I haven't been doing this for decades. This is a fairly new hobby for me. So if you know what these things are for, let me know. Okay, so here we go. We're loose. Hey, popped it off. All right, cool. There we are. So these are the original thermal pads. I know that that's a big thing that a lot of people have redone. I don't know that I'm going to redo them right now, although if this card were functional, that'd probably be what I'd have it on the bench for. So for now, I'm just going to leave it and kind of get the lay of the land in terms of what I'm actually looking at here. So I believe that is the fan plug-in. Or perhaps that one? No, probably that one. Yeah, lots of teeny tiny parts on this guy. Oh, for sure. So going further than this is going to require a little bit more research on my behalf. But this is really where I wanted to get, at least for now. So as a breakdown, yeah, I know this isn't super thorough. I may add more to the video, but this is really just necessitated by the fact that this card isn't functioning, and I'm trying to learn more about how this PCB is laid out so that perhaps I can actually effect a repair, which would be really great, because although these are nowhere near the price that they were a year ago, 18 months ago, this is still a useful card if it's repairable. And to a guy like me that doesn't make a ton of money, buying a brand new one of these just really isn't in the cards. Hey, so the neat thing about this is, at least now I have something that I can mess with, and if I destroy it, that's no real loss. But also, it's a parts bed, so if I do have another card, say one of the VRAM, I'm actually not sure which one's which. This is VRAM, right? Yeah, you tell me. This would be a great thing to be able to practice with. If I do destroy the board, then I can actually start removing some components and go from there. Now, so this is something that's really interesting to me. I'm going to leave that plastic cover on. So these little, I don't know if you can see that. Let me try and bring the magnifier in here. Not enough desk space. Let me see if I can give you a view of what I'm actually talking about here. Maybe. That ring light is a little bit too bright. Okay, that looks like... Okay, yeah, you can sort of see them. So, these little fellas are just blank spaces, right? And it always struck me as curious, like, why would they have those on the board if they're not being used? Because this is supposedly the pinnacle of their cards, at least at the time that they're made. So, why are they there? Those are the kind of questions that I ask every time I see this sort of thing. Unfortunately, I don't think I really have the experience to say for sure, but I'm looking at this and I don't see any specific issues. I can't really tell if there's anything that's damaged in particular just by looking at this. One of the methods I've seen people use is a thermal camera. That's just a piece of equipment I have not acquired yet. I say yet because I think it probably would be very handy. And I also don't have a variable power supply to inject voltage anywhere to be reviewing that. I've also heard of people cooling the board using compressed air, like canned air, and then injecting voltage and physically watching like where the condensation melts. But I think that would be a less effective way than using the thermal camera. What I am noticing though is this appears to be in the incorrect position. These, I don't think, Let's take a look here. Yeah, that looks like it was meant to actually sit on top of these modules. So I am actually going to move those, I think. Well, that might be something to research. Anyway, so there you go. It's just the top cover, but you got a little bit of the lay of the land like I did, and maybe the next thing I'll do is break it down further and see what else I can find. So I've decided I'm going to go a little bit further into this, just for the hell of it, because I think maybe you want to see a little more. Also, you know, I need to learn some stuff. So let's see here. That guy's supposed to come off that way, and then the plug, I think, lifts out. Yeah, that's going to be a trouble one. Come on, buddy. Help me out. Don't let me down. Teeny tiny. Alright, I'm gonna do this bare hands. Nope. No worky. Maybe careful application of pressure. Hey, look at that. And it just lifts free. Yeah. Alright, and then these guys are the lift, and I don't like using tweezers for this because it's super easy to break shit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just lift the plastic keeper. I don't know if you can see that. It's super small. I hope I'm not getting my head in the way. I'm bumping into the camera too. Super profesh setup here. Alright, now I'm going to use the pry tool that's plastic to just give a little tug on these guys. Carefully remove it. Same over here. Come on, buddy. Key is carefully here. Oh boy. Not simple. And these ribbon cables are definitely... Oh, okay. Just a little wiggle maybe. Let's get a little bit of torque going here. Come on, pal. Don't let me down. Wiggle, wiggle, and she's out. Got to be careful with these things because they are very delicate. And all the videos I've seen, they make it look so easy. Because, you know, they probably do it all the time and they're not worried about destroying the card or whatever. And, you know, yeah, again, in this situation with a card that's already non-functional, it's not really a huge deal, but the goal is to effect a repair. So the idea is not to destroy it in the process. Okay, so now we got to get the end plate, which are these 6 screws. Oi, they're a little tight. Whoa, gotta be careful with that heatsink. And these are really, really, really short screws. Surprisingly, everything has Loctite on it, it looks like. Okay, so these might actually be a slightly different size as well, so I'm gonna go a wee bit smaller to a T8. Ah, yes, much better. There we go. 2 of 6. I'm going to start down here. Alright, I'm going to reorient this guy for comfort. Uah. A little bit of work off camera here. Let's scoot this back up so you can see what I'm doing. Now it's sitting on the plate, so I might have to move it again. But that's okay, it's all part of the game. Let's pick it up and turn it this way. Here we go. That'll do. One of the things that struck me as really unusual about these cards, well, I mean, I suppose it's not really unusual so much as it was just curious, that the majority of the size is really just the heat sink, because it's a beast of a heat sink. I mean, you can see right through that guy if I orient it properly. But yeah, you look through there, it's that is just all of that. It's just a heat sink. That's all it is. And then the back side of this too. All right, so she's loose. Okay. So now we're going to remove these 4 screws for this retaining spring. Let's see if I've got the right size. That's a little on the small side. So we'll go a size up from there. T6. That seems about right. Maybe try a T7 just for, yep, okay, it's T6. There we go. Just pops up a little bit. Now, you gotta be careful here because there are these plastic keepers right here. See if I can get this one. And they're sort of glued there. You know, I'm just gonna leave that in place. Well, you don't want to lose those because they're not really attached once you remove the screws. There we go. She's got a good bit of spring to her, so putting that back is going to be interesting. Let's go ahead and remove that guy. Set it aside. Okay, so let's take a look, revisit this. Yeah, it's just a little bit of adhesive. So I'm actually going to leave those in place. They do seem like they're sticking okay. And now, let's make sure I haven't missed anything with my removal. It feels like there might be adhesion to the thermal pads. Okay, let me see if I'm missing anything here. Does not appear that way. Yeah, it may just be adhesion. Gentle pressure here and there. Seems like it's picking up the whole heat sink. So I might be missing something. Let's see. Yeah, maybe. Okay. A little more research. Okay, well, it may just be stuck from the thermal paste. Channel pressure. There we go. All right. Whew. Boy, there's a lot there. Okay. So let's see. So power plug. Making sure I haven't damaged anything. Yeah, everything looks okay. All right. Well, the next thing to do is clean this guy up. And I think I indeed will redo the thermal pads because, well, why not? We're here. And I mean, look how crappy a job this was. It's like these things are haphazardly thrown in here. We're gonna set this guy right there. And yeah, this is the heat sink. Huge. That's the heavy bitch. 2 big old fans and a giant bunch of other stuff. Yep. In the words of my bro, yippery doozle. Cool. Well, that was a long breakdown, but I'm gonna change these thermal pads out and then yeah, we'll go from there. All right, so thermal pad change. The first thing I'm gonna do, scrape up all this thermal paste. So it looks like a decent job of application for that. But definitely want to renew it since we're here. Oh, where'd my rag go? Ah, bummer. I'm gonna have to go find that. Okay, found it. So, remove a little bit of this. Come here. That goes in the trash. And I've seen all kinds of like advice about how to redo these thermal pads on these guys, because obviously it was a big deal. All I'm going to say is I'm going to do this piece by piece, because I think really trying to go super crazy doing it all, cutting each bit, I'm no expert. So what I'm gonna do, first off, I've seen folks put thermal pads across the top of these guys, and then on well, a whole bunch of components actually. But the deal is here, there's really only so many spots where the heatsink is actually going to be contacting the device. And you can see some of those have bare metal and an application of thermal paste. So which one's better, which one you want to use? Seems there's a pretty big toss-up about what's going to be more favorable. I think it's wise to stick with the way the manufacturers typically made things, simply because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to be trying to re-engineer something that I'm not going to say they put a ton of thought into, but I mean, they did engineer it, so there is something to be said about that. And if they engineered it a certain way, there's probably a reason. That reason might have been cost effectiveness or something like that, so it's certainly possible with like, say for example, thermal pad material, that the expense was a factor, and so they're not going to get the absolute best material on the market. They're going to get something that's economically viable for the company, which is completely understandable. So that being the case, if you think you can get a better material, that's for sure something you should do. But if you think you're going to re-engineer the whole kit and caboodle, like the way I've seen some folks doing copper mods and all that, Like, that's all well and good. I'm not saying, I'm not talking trash about copper mods. I'm just saying, if they don't do that from the factory, there's usually a reason, and that reason probably had a good deal of thought put behind it by some people that were very interested in making the device itself successfully commercially profitable. So keep that in mind when you go to do things on your own. If you want to change the system in a way that's a little bit more ideal for your purposes, go right ahead. Just keep in mind that you're taking a risk. Okay, so for the card, I'm going to go ahead and try scraping some of this off, because that stuff is, well, just a little bit excessive. Whew. Itty bitty resistors, I don't want to hurt them. Everything is tiny. Everything is tiny. Boy, I can tell this fella's had some mileage. So my major complaint about this is that this card was brand new when I purchased it. And fair warning to those of you out there who, like me, are hobbyist miners or some sort of computing hobbyist. If you do not purchase cards through the primary vendor, that is in this case NVIDIA, or an authorized dealer, make sure that you get the original invoice when you purchase a card, because in this case, this was a hard lesson learned for me. It's basically, when I purchased this card, I purchased it through a third party, a scalper as some of you might call it, because at the time, of course, GPU prices were pretty high and everyone was feeling the momentum of the industry, and that's just how things go. But what ended up happening is this card obviously didn't function the way it was intended right when I got it. And now I can say with a fair degree of confidence that that the card itself was new at the time I purchased it. I mean, that is to say that while there are some deceptive tactics people could use to refresh and rebox used cards, I didn't get that sense, and I think I have a fair sense of those things. I didn't get the sense that that was what happened. I think more than likely they just got it at a favorable price and were simply reselling it for some profit, and had never even tested it. So I received it, and as I was purchasing a number of cards at the time, this one did not get tested right away and sort of got lost in the shuffle. Eventually made it onto a motherboard, and I recognized the deficiency, and I got in contact with the vendor that I had purchased it through, and they said, oh, we suggest you talk to NVIDIA. And I said, okay, well, I'll do that. But I purchased the card through you guys. And they're like, oh, well, we don't do warranty claims. So for one thing, that means word of caution when you're dealing with third-party vendors. Be aware that many of them may not honor any kind of warranty. They may just sell things as is, because I mean, realistically, they probably don't really care, and that's fine. That's business. But if you're going to go through that process, my suggestion is make sure you get them to give you the original purchase information or receipt from the original vendor, because if you do that, then for all intents and purposes you are the original purchaser, and as you're the end user, that means the manufacturing warranty will apply to you. And now, legally speaking, theoretically, it really only applies to the original purchaser of the card, as far as I understand. I could be wrong about that. If I'm wrong, and you're, I don't know, a warranty lawyer, or you know more about that than I do, leave a comment. But yeah, my understanding is they don't have to honor their warranty if you've purchased it through a third party, because they can't, of course. Well, I mean a third party that isn't an authorized vendor, because they can't guarantee the viability of the card, or they don't have the right relationship to be willing to guarantee it. So if you get that original purchase information, you can simply take it to, in this case, NVIDIA, and say, hey, I purchased this card and it's not working. Send me a replacement, please. And then they will likely honor that, instead of asking you for that information and you don't have it, which is what happened to me. So yeah, just keep that in mind when you're purchasing cards, especially second or third hand, because while it's not the market right now, that will likely happen again. Oh boy, I'm leaving little bits of lint here. That's not good. Let's get that out of there. So I just want to save you the headache of being in the position I'm in. And although this is an interesting adventure for me, being able to take the time with a card that is effectively not useful, and seeing if I can salvage it or repair it, maybe learn something, which is always worth the time if it's a useful thing to have learned. But yeah, keep that in mind when you go out and do your purchases. All right, so there we go. It looks like I've gotten most of the residue off this fella. I'll flip that back over. There's that shiny primary processor right there. All right, so my guess, and it is a guess, albeit an educated one, is that this likely also has a power system fault. Like, I think it's the MSI cards, if I remember correctly, often had some kind of power system failure. So I'm going to leave it in this state. I'm not going to put any thermal pads back on this guy. I'm gonna reassemble it for the sake of putting it back in my my inventory, until I can narrow down what exactly I should be looking at in here, and for the sake of space savings. But if you have any suggestions about what to check, or resources, information for finding problems on these guys, please leave a comment, make a video response, something like that. Anything is useful and helpful. So there you go. Yeah, I do like integrated circuits. They are pretty cool. All right, thanks again for watching. Till next time.